Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Scott and Jaime Show. I'm Scott with Velocity.
And I'm Jaime, also with Velocity.
So last week we talked about the weather, and this week we're going to talk about deeply held beliefs and how they can sometimes, oftentimes, hold us back, Jaime.
Yeah, I think we don't recognize sometimes that we have these beliefs that we carry into every part of our lives that really block us from making progress personally or with a goal. So I will tell you one of my deeply held beliefs as an example. I thought dieting had to be hard.
Very difficult.
It has to be hard. It has to be about giving up things. It has to be about working out all the time and doing things you hate to do. Right?
And what have you learned, Jaime?
I have learned very recently, thank you Holly Harmon, that dieting can be really about listening to your body, and exercise can be things that you enjoy and nothing more, including walking. And you can, you know, it's a very natural part of my life now, and it's not hard.
Right. And I've watched you, someone who normally goes into something with a great deal of gusto, sometimes to the point where it exhausts you, do this in a very gradual fashion, which is so darn healthy when it comes to health. And it's been very impressive to watch. It really has.
Aww.
And I know you credit Holly Harmon at Holly Harmon Health with so much of your progress, but it's really the confluence of you being at the place you wanted to be to make the change and meeting Holly Harmon.
Right.
It really has been.
And I think giving up that deeply held beliefs, or really questioning, does it have to be hard? Is that the only way that there is out there?
And for me, I guess it was that dating always has to be difficult.
Yeah.
This idea that if I date and if I fall in love again, it will restrict me from living the life that I want to live. It will produce more drama than I want to have in my life. And I've realized, especially post, you know, it's taken me several years of post long-term relationship reflection and introspection to get to the point where I no longer believe I'm in that post breakup phase.
Yeah.
And now that I'm not in it anymore, I realize it's fun to date, and it doesn't have to be about forever. It can be very light and very interesting and very fun, and if something happens from it, great. And it doesn't have to be restrictive. It doesn't mean that my life is going to become more arduous, more difficult. It's actually going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I first met you, Scott, you were so scared
Oh my God.
of being out on a date and opening your heart, even one tiny little iota, and now you are so much more open and so much more willing to see what's out there.
Yes, absolutely, which makes me realize it's going to happen sooner than I realize.
Yeah.
Which is exciting, to be honest.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Just as your health exploration is exciting and no longer seems so difficult for you, so too does my love sort of exploration, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful place to be. And these deeply held beliefs, though, can come back to us, especially as we're engaging more and more in this experimentation. And we have to be very aware of that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple of other deeply held beliefs that you may find coming up in your own life. One that Merton Seligman, one of our favorite positive psychology researchers, found when they were doing research on post-traumatic stress in the Army was asking for help is weakness. Right? Asking for help is weakness. And that deeply held belief, which so many men have, so many people have, really prevented them from moving forward and getting past the trauma of being a part of the Army in some of our recent wars.
Right.
So asking for help is weakness. Is that useful to you? Is that helping move you forward? Or is that blocking you and preventing you from getting past your pain?
Yeah, and think about the ancillary benefits of reaching out to other people.
Yeah.
You engage in greater friendships, deeper relationships. You start to trust other people more as they trust you. People who come across as a rock often have very surfacey relationships because they don't allow themselves to go deep, and then no one really wants to go deep around them.
Yeah, yeah. So just think about it now. What are some of those beliefs that you're holding on to that may be preventing you from getting where you want to go, and what can you do about them? Because they've had huge impacts on our own personal lives and huge impacts on the lives of others that have really questioned those deeply held beliefs.
Absolutely. And the other one you want to talk about, Jaime, was crying.
Oh yeah. Crying in public or crying at all is weakness, right? And we have, and again, this is especially for men, but I know plenty of women, myself included, that feel awful when they cry and don't want to use that as a tool in relationships or to get what they want. And so they don't want to cry, when really crying is just an expression of an emotion, and it's okay.
I find it very cathartic. I mean, I grew up in an Italian-American family. It seemed like we were crying all the time.
Yeah, every day.
Every day! I mean, it seemed like everything was about...
Every day in 1985. After, what show?
What show?
Happy Days.
No, Magnum P.I.
Magnum P.I.
I love Tom Selleck. I love Tom Selleck.
Yeah,
but we're not going to talk about that here. Right, I would cry when it was over. No, I didn't cry at the drop of a hat, but I was an emotional boy, and a lot of people would say, oh, you're very emotional.
Yeah.
But that's just who I am.
And that may have dissuaded you from being emotional in your adulthood, right? It could have, like it has for so many other people, that saying, ooh, I don't want to be called emotional. Crying is now weakness. Right. I'm not going to deal with that. And what happens when you bottle up all that pain? Right? And you just feel awful until it explodes somewhere else in your life.
Right, in a far worse way than it would be if you just let it out right away.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is cry and reach out to friends.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
Cry every day.
Every single day.
That's not what we're saying.
No, we're not. We're not. But these deeply held beliefs can hold you back, absolutely. Like Jaime said, in your personal life, when it comes to career goals, and acknowledging what they are and investigating them with a friend or a coach or someone else can be a wonderful way to break through those blocks and to live a more enriched and happy life.
That is correct.
All right, so that wraps up another episode of the Scott and Jaime Show, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.